Hello.
I'm Bekky.
My name's Ben.
I'm Nathan.
We're travelling around the UK, we're meeting
People from a whole different range of perspectives
Who are within the Methodist tradition.
talking about a range of challenging issues.
So anyone who's just looking to find out more, this should be really helpful.
It's going to be one heck of a ride.
So, Bekky, what are we talking about next?
So I'm going to go see Ian Rutherford and I'm going to chat to him about social justice.
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting discussion, Bekky, because social justice is a buzzword nowadays. It'll be interesting to see what he says about the church's response.
I'm really interested to, find out about how do we get the balance between evangelism and social justice, and what's the distinction between them.
Ian, it's great to be with you. The first thing that I kind of want to know is, what does justice mean?
Well, that's a good question to ask a person who is a minister but is also a lawyer. And I suppose in both of my walks of life, I've been looking at that question over many years. So thinking about me as a lawyer, looking at justice, it's about rightness, it's about getting to the truth, it's about making sure that we understand that balance in life to make sure that we are on the right side of it. As a Christian, obviously that's tied up with my belief in God and the fact that, as far as I'm concerned, he holds all things in balance. And that brings that sense of rightness, that sense of righteousness, if you like, into the mix. I think we have some imperatives from God. There are certain things that are said in the prophecies of the Old Testament that help us. The text that I always go to is Micah chapter 6 verse 8, where the Lord actually says what he requires of us, which is to do justice, to love kindness, and to walk humbly. I think it's interesting that he tells us to do justice. He tells us to love kindness, not just to think about it, and to walk humbly, which gives a sense of movement, maybe into some more difficult places, to bring that justice, to bring that mercy, to bring that righteousness.
So what does doing justice actually look like today?
Well, I think I saw it yesterday, actually.
Okay.
I went to take part in the climate strike. That was something that the young people of this country have been involved with. And it seemed to me that the way that we were standing together, of all ages, to ensure that we're talking about what climate justice actually looks like, we actually were able to say that we were doing justice. I think I see justice when young people get involved in working towards helping the homeless, to bring food, to bring help to those that are struggling on the streets at the moment. So that's what doing justice is about. Deeds, not words. He has lots to say about the way that we relate to each other. I think the most powerful thing that he does is to tell us a story about the master that separates the sheep from the goats. And he indicates that the sheep are the ones that have actually done his will and done his purpose by looking after those that are in need. So he talks about giving to the hungry, giving clothing to the naked, visiting people in prison. And those people say, well, when did we ever do those sort of things to you? And he said, well, whenever you did it to the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did it to me.
So it's all about practically getting involved with, maybe your community and all about that kind of social action. Is that kind of what it's all about?
I think that's a good first stage, because that's actually doing something. But it seems to me that we as Christians need to go further than that. The place we need to be at is at the table of discussion about how we change the systems that we have within society. When you think about what you would like to do in life, should we get involved in politics? And some people think, well, it's a very dangerous thing, very dark thing to do. Christians shouldn't be involved in politics. Well, I think they should, because politics is about health, it's about education, it's about things becoming right for people. And so that's the place that Christians need to be. As a Methodist, I've obviously got a zeal for evangelism. I've obviously got that striving for personal holiness, but there's also that passion for social justice. And that was what was driving the Wesleys when they formed the movement. So a lot of the first schools, the first trade unions, the first places of safety, the first campaigning hubs really came from the Methodists. And so therefore we're almost going back into a really rich vein of our history when we say that we're still wanting to be engaged in these sort of things.
So why does this issue kind of matter so much to you?
I think it always has. I can remember when I was coming out of university, I was in a church, we had two friends who were architects, and we were sitting hearing some teaching about Isaiah's prophecy, Isaiah 58, about that fast that God has chosen. And we were very struck by the level of youth homelessness within our area. And we felt very motivated to pray about it. So we did. And during that prayer, it just became so clear to me that just praying wasn't going to be enough. We needed to do something about it. So we actually formed a housing association. So we could then have a place where single homeless young people could actually be looked after and be cared for. It was justice, not praying about it, but doing it, that really sort of fired me. I wonder what fires you if you're listening to this program. What is the prevailing issue of justice within your own area? Maybe that's what God's nudging you to be involved with, not just to pray about it, but to do something about it. It seems to me that it'd be good to have a chat with your minister or your youth leader and just talk through the sort of things that are happening within your area and what you might be involved with. Maybe you can volunteer for a project. Maybe you could actually write to your MP. Maybe you could meet your MP. That would be a really good idea. And just see what sort of things you could do.
Thank you so much for chatting to me, and yeah, it's been great to learn more about social justice.
So, Bekky, how was your chat with Ian?
Yeah, it was great. We were chatting all about social justice,
Okay, yeah.
Which was great. He was really good to chat to. He had a real passion for it.
What did he say about how we can get involved?
It'd be really good for us to encourage our churches to have a look at the communities around us, the local community stuff that's going on.
Okay, yeah.
You know, what God puts on your heart personally, but what's going on closer to home.
Sure, yeah.
That you can get involved in, you can raise money, you can protest, things that are really important. But also he was saying that it's really good for Christians to have a voice in the bigger picture as well.
Okay,
so
yeah.
To not be afraid of getting involved in politics, because we need Christians in politics. We need Christians to have the authority, the voice. So yeah, it was really good. He had a lot of practical points as well. So yeah.